Well, thank you so much, Tavian. Well, this afternoon, we are following results from Election Day. It was a long night for election workers nationwide. All across the state, election commissioners made sure that every ballot was counted. And joining us now to talk about the process in Anderson County is the Election Commission Administrator, Mark Stevens. Mark, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Brittany, for having me.
Let's start off talking about how the day went. How was Election Day in Anderson County?
Election Day was very successful. We had a very good day yesterday, and it started with the culmination of, we had a record turnout for early voting. And it kind of, like I said, culminated with a very good turnout. We set a record as far as vote total in Anderson County for the November election.
And did that take place not only because I know lots of folks set early voting records, and then you set an overall record in Anderson County too?
We did set an overall total vote record, yes. That was something that if you went to the polls and voted, whether it was early or election day, you saw the numbers of people that were in line. And that's something that we have not seen for a number of years. We had lines at 8 o'clock at night, which is something that's very, you know, it's just not something you see every day. And so we had a very successful day, and I think it was overall, so that goes statewide too. I think there was a trend, I think, just to get the vote out early. I think certain organizations and certain groups wanted to make sure that you got out there early to vote, and it makes our job a lot easier when people do go vote early. It takes a lot of stress off of our election officials, and that you don't have all the problems on election day.
I was going to ask, that was going to be my question, if all of the folks coming early sort of made things a little easier on election day. And did you encounter any issues at all? Just for instance, I know in Blount County there was one sort of voting machine that fell off a table, and, you know, a minor issue, but did you all experience anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, you're always going to have issues. That's just part of it. You know, elections aren't perfect. People think, you know, well, it's like people aren't perfect. You know, you find that there are going to be situations with machines that might break down, or, you know, things that may happen, you know, workers that, you know, may not do the right thing at some point in time. But overall, I think, like I said, I've heard statewide, we've had nothing but good reports, and I think the state was very pleased with the turnout and also the performance.
Well, certainly, you know, not everyone is maybe happy with the results, but the turnout in our state and here in East Tennessee was great. Voters came to the polls and they showed up to have their voices heard, it sounds like.
I think you're right about that. I know that, you know, you're never going to please everybody. You know, there is going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. But I think overall, I think from the standpoint of the participation, I think it was very good that, you know, and I think one thing that every election there's something different. You get something from it. This election was very unique because we saw a lot of first-time voters, and they're not young people. We were talking about first-time voters that were maybe 50, 60, 70 years old, seniors that first time they had never voted in their lives coming out to vote because they felt that invested in this particular race. They felt there was definitely a connection, that they definitely wanted to come out and vote and participate. And of course, you're never too old to vote. You know, there's always a place for everybody at the table, and we want the folks, the more people to be able to be invested in their communities, and that's one way they can do it.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by to share your perspective, and glad everything went well in your county yesterday.
Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it.
Yeah.